Queen and Slim. Average at best. But before that, I just want to talk about a couple things. First, AMC, right? I went and seen this twice, right? The second time, I went to the matinee. $7.25, right? Why was y'all small popcorn $7.50?
$7.50.
Don't look at me crazy when you see me come in and my jacket look like this and you hear mad rappers and stuff. Yeah, I stopped at Dollar Tree first. And I ain't snitching on nobody, but there's a whole bunch of other people who stopped at Dollar Tree. I seen them in Dollar Tree before I went in the movie. And y'all wonder why we be in a movie like this.
I brought me a little snack of my own. You want some chicken?
Nah.
Also, I don't know what's up with this movie called Black Christmas. Why is it called Black Christmas? It's a whole bunch of killing. This should have been called Red Christmas. Listen, I don't know what y'all put on words was for that, but I'm not feeling that. But what I am feeling is Just Mercy with Michael B. Jordan and Jamie Foxx. I'm definitely going to see that. Gotta support, because in Just Mercy, it look like we got some strong black males in there compared to, what's the name of this movie again? Compared to the movie we about to talk about that's average at best, but we ain't had no strong black males. You feel me? For real. Like, what's the name of the movie? What is it? I really can't remember. Look, just watch this Just Mercy clip.
Judged and decreed that Walter McMillan is to face death by electrocution.
This is my dad, sir.
Sit down, young man.
John, I want you to sit down now.
He ain't do nothing wrong.
Please, Judge, hold on one second.
I won't say it again. Sit down.
Not if you gonna kill my dad for no reason. You killing my family, sir, you!
Alright, let's get to it. Queen and Slim. Average at best. Yeah, I said it. And before I even get into this, let me ask the black community, the African American community. Was this a black classic? Is this an instant black classic? And the reason I asked this is because what I've been hearing. Because I wasn't going to do this until I heard things like, oh, it's up there with Love Jones. Love Jones? This movie deserves an Oscar. An Oscar? What? Are we serious? So I'm assuming this because I seen the movie twice, and like I'm feeling like y'all had to see the movie in 3D or something. Like y'all had to feel like y'all was in the mother. Like y'all had to. Did I not get my 3D glasses? Like what's going on? Cause y'all talking Oscar like. I'm just assuming that y'all seen it in 3D with the director's cut. Like it was y'all seen the special version. I ain't see that version. Then you got critics saying this is the best love movie of all time. Of all time? Man, hey, come here. But hey, listen. First, before I even get into this, I want to give a shout out to the directors. I heard this their first big movie and they hit the big screen and stuff like that. I heard it was 2 women, which kind of gave me a little clarity to why certain things was done and why certain things were the way they were. So look, I'm not about to critique this to the max and say every little thing that I seen in it that I didn't like and stuff like that. Because there's actually things in it I've seen that I did like. But it's certain things I just want to point out because as a black male in America, you know what I'm saying, as an African American male in America, however you want to put it, you know, it's just certain things that I feel like we could have been portrayed better. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the way we was portrayed in this movie, if it was somebody's first encounter or first time seeing like black people in action in their environment and stuff like that, you would look at us a certain type of way that's not true. And maybe I could be a little more sensitive because we're talking about like speaking to the world about the black community. Even though it probably wasn't that type of movie in their mind, you gotta think, however we portray it, that's how they're gonna view us. You get? So yeah, certain things I feel some type of way about, and as y'all should too. Also, something I just want to talk about and I wanted to stay with y'all throughout this whole review. As a black male, and this could just be me, when I look at movies and there's other black males in it, I want to see somebody that I could see myself in, or I could see myself wanting to grow to be. Especially in these type of movies, you want to feel like, dang, if that was me, I did the same thing. Or you so inspired that when you leave the movie, you just feel like you got to tighten up. I mean, I feel like in this movie, no black male character gave me that feeling at all. Somebody that I would want to inspire to be, or I could see myself in. A good example would be The Father from the Hate You Give. Like, he was solid. He would stand up. Now, certain people might not agree with every single thing he did throughout the movie. And hey, he's not perfect. That's real life, you know. But from an overall standpoint, he was solid.
What does that say?
Reasons to live give reasons to die.
Yeah. Your brothers and your mother are my reasons to live and die.
Now let that sink in and think about Queen and Slim. Can you say that about any male character in this movie? that they were solid through and through, and they were somebody that you could see yourself wanting to be, or you seeing yourself in them. Just keep that in mind as we go through the review. Alright, so these main points aren't in chronological order of the movie, but they are in order from the ones that bothered me the least to the ones that bothered me the most. So first, the uncle. One thing I ain't like about the uncle was the fact that he was a pimp. Now we talking about two important black male characters in this movie, Slim and Uncle Earl, and both of their roles diminish the black man in America. Like, let's be realistic. And before you get irate, ask yourself this. Would you be cool if your son grew up to be like either one of these characters? Me personally? No, I would not. Which is why I say it's important to have more strong black male characters in these movies, especially when we're the one making these movies. Now, he was in the service, he fought in the war, which a lot of people consider commendable. And they said he had PTSD, but we never really seen these signs of him having PTSD. Well, we did hear that he killed his sister. But the thing was, they glorified him being a pimp more than they did him fighting for his own country. The only benefits we got from him being in the service was him introducing them to the shepherds so they could try and get on the plane. And then it showed the uncle and they're beating on the females and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that's great. Wow, that's good. You know what I'm saying? Let's just keep diminishing black men. Okay, that's great. And then his little scary stuff. You want me to go talk to your uncle? Shut up. You think you talk? You can't even control her. You want to go talk to her? You want?
Mom. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Call for your mama.
Now, y'all probably knew I was going to do this one. The little boy and the mechanic, that whole situation. All right? Now, the mechanic didn't agree with what they was doing. And that's cool. Everybody has their own opinion. But why would you allow your son to go with them if you didn't agree with what they was doing? Mind you, they killed a cop, a white cop, in America. They didn't steal TVs from Walmart.
They're stealing.
So allowing your son to go with them, not only putting him in different elements of danger, but also look at how excited he was to see them. That was funny. But what wasn't funny was the conversation that they had with Junior. And I think it's safe to say at this point, they was well aware of the power that they had inside of the black community. So when Junior spoke about them being immortal and him wanting to be just like that and wanting to be remembered forever and stuff like that, I'm like, ooh, he about to drop a jewel on them. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the perfect time to teach. It's a teaching moment. He's not just going to teach him, but he about to teach the whole black youth, the whole culture. Here we go. And what happened? Instead of him dropping the jewel, what he do?
The diamond's real?
You can check them.
I'm glad you asked, dog. Let's check them. Hold on.
Nah, I'm lying.
Nah, let's check them.
Cubic zirconium.
Let's check them.
It's cubic zirconium.
Drop some cubic zirconium. And we see what happened when he didn't drop a jewel. And I'm not saying that if he was an alpha male and he dropped a jewel, things would have changed. But at least it would have been said, though, to him and the black culture. He could have said something as simple as, you're glorifying us killing the police. That's not the way you want to be remembered forever. We didn't do that out of aggression. We did that out of a necessity. I was scared for my life and hers. We did it out of fear. You have to understand, all police aren't bad. And yes, that's what I would have said. Me being a black male in America who's had to deal with those type of things. Racial profiling, those things are real. So if you've seen the movie, you know what happened next. If not, spoiler alert. Junior, the mechanic's son, goes to a rally and a black cop tells him, listen, man, disperse, just go home, man. I just want to do my job, man. Just go home. And Junior pulls out a gun, puts it in his face. And my man like, whoa, chill. Like, you ain't got to do that. Calm down, brother. Ah! I ain't going to front that. Oh, I'm like, oh, he did that? He really let it go? I'm like, oh, and he killed a black cop. Like, dang. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to front. That hurt me. I'm not even going to lie. That moment definitely shook the movie theaters. Like, I ain't even going to hold you. That was a good moment. I still feel like the jewel was still necessary to have. You know, whether he used it or not, just the fact that he had it. Like, I think the scene could have still been dope when he raised the gun to the cop. And the cop is talking to him like, yo, son, listen, man, all cops aren't bad. I'm just trying to do my job, man. And then as he got the gun to him, he has a flashback to Slim saying all cops aren't bad. And then the cop pushes the gun down, brings him in, and hugs him. Then it flashes back to Queen and Slim to doing whatever they was doing. I think that could have still been dope. And that's one of them toss-up scenes. Because I'm going to be honest, that scene, like I said, it shook the crowd. It shook the theaters. But yeah, I think a jewel was still necessary regardless in that whole scene. Black men are dope. Ooh, shorty, say that for me? Yeah. All right, real quick. I know y'all wondering why I changed the hoodie and stuff like that. My sister stopped by and dropped the hoodie off while I was recording, so shout out to her, you know. And the crazy thing is, she liked the movie. You know what I'm saying? I was sitting down, I was talking to a couple family members, and they liked the movie. They were all females. Anyway, it's two things in this main point, and that's because they was right next to each other in the movie. One of the things he talked about was black excellence. Why everybody that's black gotta feel like they have to be excellent? Why can't they just be themselves? What? Was he supposed to be oblivious? Like, I don't know, like, cause that right there kind of threw me off. Was it supposed to be a jewel? Cause if it was, you know what it was.
Keep it draconian. Let's keep it draconian.
Let's talk about it then. So one thing you could put into this perspective, right? In the world that we live in, everybody's trying to get to the top of the mountain or either somewhere on the mountain. And some people are born privileged where they start off on the mountain or either at the top of the mountain. Now, generally speaking, majority of black people start off in the mud, meaning they have to struggle through the mud just to get to the bottom of the mountain. You think about how many kids we lose in high school who die in the mud from countless trials and tribulations that are faced on a day-to-day basis. It's hard as hell to get from the mud to the top of the mountain. You know, so he talking about why everybody trying to be excellent. Like, what, you ain't never heard of black excellence? Like, we just trying to be great in our own regards. Because when you make it out the mud, you get that kid that's still in the mud with that little glimmer of light, hope. Like they say, reach one, teach one. And I wish that Queen, the strong role that she did play in that movie and being so educated as she was portrayed, that she would have dropped a jewel on him. Because he really needed it. This last one, it really touched the nerve. And it touched the nerve because they did it to try and be funny. But at the cost of diminishing our culture. Like, are we serious? That's what we doing? Like, don't do that. Don't try and downplay our culture for shits and giggles. And y'all probably like, yo, what he talking about? I'm talking about the scene where the father got hit by the car. Alright, so the father get hit by the car, and it's a toss-up whether we're gonna take him to the hospital or not. The first thing he does is call his son a bitch. Then he calls his son mother a bitch. Then he talking about all the bitches and stuff he got, and he calling his son all types of names and stuff like that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't try and downplay our culture like that. Because whether you're talking about a poverty-stricken black household, a suburban black household, or just a general black household, I've never heard a black parent talk to their child like that. Like, don't do that. And if you are going to do that, leave a jewel behind it. Because he had the father's ear. The father was pretty much praising him. You could have had him tell the father, listen, I'm not taking you nowhere. Because that's not how you talk to a young king. You're supposed to raise him up. Instead of that, you tearing him down. Also, if he'd have dropped a jewel on him, then took him to the hospital, it would have showed how it was more important to give him a life lesson on raising a young black man than their own freedom. Shout out to Maul. He pointed that out to me, you know. But yeah, I didn't like that. And I bet you, if they would have dropped a jewel on him at that scene, this is how all the black people in the crowd would have been acting.
You can check everything.
Hold on. Talk your shit. Talk your shit.
And people saying, all the stuff you talking about, that's probably not what they was aiming for. And that's cool, but you have to remember, people already have a negative connotation of black people. People already have a limited perception of black people. So if you're going to bring us to the light, show us right. Because I ain't going to front. When this scene came up, I'm looking around, people laughing. I'm in there like... Look, these are all fun facts, so they're going to be quick, they're going to be fast. And I apologize, you know, my hair looking all crazy, junk looking all scruffy, you know what I'm saying? I ain't had a cut in like 2 months. But what's crazy about that is, homie hair look worse than mine. Like, come on, yo, it's 2019, man. We got sponges and stuff like that. Y'all could have threw a wig on him, had his junk looking, you know what I'm saying? Gave him this cut. Y'all could have had the junk connecting, all of that. It looked like y'all took pubic hair and just slapped it on his face and put scotch tape under it. Come on, man. Y'all know y'all ain't right for that. But shout out to the actress. She did her thing, you know what I'm saying, Queen. And shout out to my man Slim too, you know, for doing their thing. But the one thing, I think it's hard to depict something that you're not, you know what I'm saying? So he's not an African-American male, so he wouldn't know how African-Americans act in certain situations, which I felt like was lacked in some of these scenes. When we see the first scene with them in a restaurant, we could tell, like, all right, this is the typical blatantly hurt black woman who's successful, but at the same time lonely and hurt, you know. And of course, like, you know, that comes from some kind of trauma or something like that, which we learned later on in the movie. You know, at first it reminded me of the movie with LL Cool J and Gabrielle Union. But the one thing I did like about the movie was it showed her going from being selfish to selfless. Whew, when the cop pulled him over, I definitely told her, shut up, stop talking. Like, you don't know they out here killing people? Black men in particular? Yeah, he was supposed to tell her to shut up. Oh, I know the scene that made y'all go crazy. When he gave a gun to my man in the store. Now, just growing up in the black community, we all seen dead presidents. He know how that process is supposed to go. I'm just saying. Better yet, if you ain't want to take it to that extreme, we all seen the Rick James and Charlie Murphy story. He was supposed to...
What is the 5 fingers say to the face? What? Slap!
You know, even if you don't want to take the violent route, you could have took the clip out and handed him the gun. If you're going to do that, if you want to hand him the gun. Oh, when they was in the bed and she was rubbing on his head, like, you know, I'm just rubbing on your head for good luck. And he was like, I don't believe in luck. I believe everything is destined. I'm like, oh, why he had to kill her shit like that? Me personally, I felt like he could have just rolled over, looked in her eyes and said, listen, I don't believe in luck, but I believe in us. And I believe that if we stay together, we can make it through this. I'm thinking something like that. Might not be exactly that, you know what I'm saying? But you gotta talk to her soul a little bit, you feel me? Yeah. Something I thought was dope when it was like, nothing scares a white man more than a black man on a horse, because he has to look up to him. I was like, oh, that's dope. One thing was, he was a beta male and she was an alpha female. And they made sure that you never forgot that, because she always had on heels. Even though they was the same height, she always appeared taller than him. But they did have some scenes where he was the strong one out the two of them, like the scene where they had to jump out the window. And that was funny because she was teaching him how to jump out the window, and she was the one who wound up getting hurt. Never was I doing that. Definitely throwing the bed sheet out the window. We know how that go. But that scene showed strength in him because he had to calm her down as he put her arm back in place. That was cool. Ooh, I know some black people was cringing when he was chewing like that in the movie. Because I know they was like, he know better than that. Yeah, that's not allowed in most black households. We call that smacking. And when you chew like that, this usually what happened.
I would like to volunteer to take this old bird out of her misery.
Come on, Cleveland. Come on. Come over here. Come on in. Let's show walk. Come over. Then you're going to limp back. You walk over, but you're limping back.
I didn't really understand the point of the baby convo in the car, but I did like what the grandmother said. She was saying, through our children, we are reborn. I thought that was pretty dope. Oh, yeah, he had an unlimited supply of Sean John velour suits. Like, he was looking like Dave Chappelle when he played Diddy.
You guys are official now. Welcome to Bad Boy. It's Bad Boy, baby. Can't stop. Won't stop.
Oh, the fur coat at the end? I ain't gonna front. That fur coat was tough. He was looking like Victor Sweet from the Four Brothers, but that junk was tough, though. If somebody don't mind telling me, why was they selling bean pies outside of a church? I was confused. I also didn't get was, how did they directions lead them to the middle of nowhere? Like, it was nothing on either side, you know? And if you would have paid attention to the last part of the movie, you would have realized he only asked them 2 questions. Do you know the Shepherds, and how long have you known the Shepherds? On top of that, he asked them the questions first.
Hey, who mans is this?
Well, let me explain to you about...
Who mans is this?
That's not enough. We gotta ask some more questions. It's about to turn into an interrogation. My life is on the line. I know that last scene with the cops touched a lot of people right here. And they viewed them as being honorable for the way they went out. But I'm gonna be honest, me personally, come on, baby, we gonna hold hands. We about to get on our knees, though. Matter of fact, let my hand go. Let it go. You about to put that law degree to use. Because so far in this movie, it's been looking like you being a lawyer was pointless. We gonna take this one to trial. Is it just me, or they ain't have to shoot him like that? Both his hands was occupied. They ain't have to shoot him like Denzel in Training Day. Look, thank you for sitting here and listening to me vent and looking at my purple walls. I appreciate you. And hopefully y'all appreciated my logic. Just my logic.